Jeremy, appreciate you coming on, brother.
Hey, thank you for having me. Glad to
You're
be here.
you're in Spain, so I'm just in Columbus, Ohio. So Spain sounds a lot nicer at the current moment in time. But Jeremy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, so that everybody can kind of understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been an entrepreneur since about 19 years old. I got introduced to my first entrepreneurial opportunity, and I had a blast in network marketing for a few years. And I built this really big affiliate network.
Mm.
We had about like 5,000 people in this affiliate network. And it's where I made my tiny little first chunk of change and got my feet wet in sales and building relationships. And after a few years, the company had a internal problem and they shut down basically overnight.
So you're one of the people that made money doing that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I made this, little chunk of change over the first few years. When it shut down, over 24 hours, I was sitting there, I looked back and I was like, man, if I could have done one thing more, I would have worked on building my name
Right.
and my reputation just as much as any product or company or industry even that I was representing at the time. And so that kind of led me down this path of personal branding. 6-7 years later now, just long story short, we have a company called Influencer Club and work hands-on with a lot of high-level entrepreneurs, helping them build a really strong world-class personal brand, go get their message out there, impact the market. So
That's amazing, man. All right, we got to get to some influencer stuff, man.
yeah, sure.
So that business came about after you sort of realized, when this first business you were in, it stopped, you hadn't really been able to like take anything away. So it sounds like you said, well, what's the thing that I always take with me, myself? So
Yeah.
I need to build my own personal brand. So
Yeah, exactly.
how
And
did that journey look for you?
well, I mean, it wasn't super clear, okay, as it is now, putting the pieces together backwards. But I did have that feeling of, okay, I really enjoyed the personal development side of the network marketing industry. So we spent a lot of time around people like Bob Proctor. We learned from the Jim Rohn to Eric Thomas and the Gary Vaynerchuk. I mean, we watched all these guys speak on small stages before they became the worldwide name or the massive brand that they are 5 to 10 years later. And so I think those things started to set in, where it was like, no matter what business we do, I want to make a name for myself. I see how attention flows into their business. 10 different people on stage with 10 different books, and yet all of it is flowing, into whatever business they have. And so I went down the route of, just starting to create some content. And then I started to reach out and I found somebody that was doing a business again that I thought made me feel excited. Right. And so I saw someone who was getting into the social media space. They wanted to start kind of managing social media accounts, helping people grow, helping them utilize their Instagram. And so this was, you know, 7 to 10 years ago. And so I ended up, getting into another business with a guy and going down to South Florida, and we grew that business for many years together and helped a lot of amazing people. And I met a mentor of mine who helped people like Patrick Bet-David and Grant Cardone and Damon John and Kevin O'Leary, and helped these guys grow to their first 1 million followers. And in return, I sat there and I studied it and I reinvested and built that process and did all of that for myself many years, and then eventually build an entire team to build systems, really just to solve a lot of these, challenges for myself. Right. And that's what ended up turning into a company to serve others and help other people.
So while you're learning all this stuff and you're kind of trying to build your personal branding, what's the ultimate goal? Do you have like I'm going to launch X business? Because this sounds like it was a little bit before you actually even started like coaching other individuals on this process.
Yeah, well, I was in a business partnership in a previous business, and so we were, helping clients, working with clients, helping them do the same thing. And so as a as someone inside of a business, this time around, I was also building my own brand. I was building my own reputation, and I was growing myself as that process was happening. Right. So there wasn't some end goal to like launch a big thing. And to be honest, that's a great point, because I think a lot of people don't go about building the brand because they're always waiting for the launch, right? They're waiting for like a reason why they should start growing this ecosystem. And if you think of it like a garden, it's just start planting some plants.
You got to start a long time ago.
Yeah, just start creating a nice soil, nice foundation, get the thing moving, get it growing. And then one day, right, when an opportunity does arise, okay, and somebody says, wow, I see what you have to offer, then you are prepared for it, right? You've got something ready. It's a hell of a lot harder to start when you have the idea five years later. Okay, now I'm going to start building a brand, or getting myself out there because I have the right idea. No, do it. If you're an employee, do it. If you're a business owner, do it. If you're an entrepreneur, do it. If you only have if you've got ideas but you don't have anything that you're executing on yet, still just quick reminder, like it is very, very, it's a very strong concept to just continue to build your name and kind of put your thoughts somewhere, because when it comes time for you to launch something, yeah, you'll actually have a little bit of momentum there.
Yeah, really, I kind of woke up to this idea. I had a presidential candidate on for the Libertarian Party, and he said the reason that they picked me to be one of the candidates was because I had a strong presence. And I was like, huh, interesting. So unfortunately, it wasn't even like a popularity contest. It was like a notoriety contest. It was like, is this person even well known enough? And if you look at like some of the people who have ran for president recently, a lot of them that didn't start without like a serious like namesake, like they didn't really even have a chance. So that kind of woke me up like, oh, so it's sort of like fame first, then you opportunity after. And he was like, I didn't even consider running for president until they asked me. And then I decided, okay, maybe I will. But he wasn't nearly as big as someone like Dave Smith. So Dave Smith, like famous comedian, famous libertarian, if he would throw his hat in the ring, they'd be like, oh, well, like Dave's our candidate. Absolutely, positively, no questions asked. It's not even like an idea contest. It's literally like a fame contest. I don't know if that's a good thing, but that is just the way it works.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, I think that's a great point. I think your thought process is in the right direction. Look, and so yeah, it's part of the game. It's part of the and it always has been. It always has been.
So where is the start point? If someone's like, okay, I want to build my following. Maybe I have a project I'm working on. Maybe I'm a business owner. Maybe I, want to become a writer, author, podcaster, speaker, singer.
Yeah.
Where does the process start for you and your company?
Well, forget about our process. Let's just take what you said. Anyone in any given scenario with their business, their industry, you need to start with, what is the actual end goal that I would like to achieve from building my personal brand? From
start with riches, we'll finish with fame. Well, I'm kidding, of course. And everybody wants to make a little bit of money. Everybody wants, some acclaim and fame.
I mean, hey, for some, it's, there's a few buckets, right? Like for some, it's purely, they've built a massive business. They're already successful. I've got members that when I meet them, they have 500 followers. They do $1 billion a year in real estate production. They've got 200 agents in their business, and they want to build a brand because they want to expand their ecosystem. They want to get involved. They're not being invited to the podcast, even though they should be, right? They're not being invited to the speaking event, even though they should be. Okay. So should be, you still have to, right? You still have to play and enter the game if you want to be a part of that process, right? Or else it's going to be the other guy that gets invited to the speaking event. Mm-hmm. Very simple. So for some, it's impact, and they just want to give back. They want to create content. They want to have fun. They want to get their ideas out there. They've already made money. They've already created success. For others, they're in the momentum of their career right now. Okay. And they have two choices. It's like, just focus on the business. I don't need this. Social media isn't going to impact my business. I'm already doing it. I know what I need to do. And I agree with that. So a lot of people ask me, like, do you have to? No. Let's be very clear. You do not have to do anything with social media or anything in general. You need to do whatever is best for you. But if you want to expand your ecosystem of, let's say, opportunities, of relationships, of impact, the first thing you need to start with is why. Like, why? Why do it? So you said, I want to grow my following. That's a really bad way for anyone to start a process, right? Just to grow a following? No. Like, let's go 5 layers deeper. What is it actually? Well, grow a following. What I mean is I want people to like and engage with me in regards to my content. Okay, 1 layer deeper. I want people to actually take something away and have it impact their lives. Okay, 1 layer deeper. Maybe I get partnerships and businesses. Maybe I get more money, more deals, more revenue because of it. Okay, right? So let's go to the actual end goal and, I guess, reverse engineer it from there, right?
Okay. With this podcast, I want to get clients, get good, high quality clients for our company. I would like to have something that is long lasting. So if I decide to, sell this company in 5 to 10 years, it's like I have something that's actually there, and then maybe actually I can make some money with that and make that kind of my job, if you will.
Right.
One of my kind of ways I give back is I try to help other entrepreneurs, as you stated, people who are maybe like not quite to where I am yet, people who are past me, they don't need me. Maybe I got some helpful pieces of advice, but
a little legacy,
it's another good one. Yep, of course. So yeah, I mean, those would be kind of the things that I would say there's, potential future revenue sources, clients, and then, yeah, as you stated, being helpful for other entrepreneurs in the industry as a whole.
Yeah, people like to talk about expanding when things are not going well.
Okay.
People like to say, well, maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need to switch and change my direction here. Maybe if I had built the brand, they have all these thoughts when shit hits the fan. When everything's going really well, revenue is flowing, the business is growing, that's when a lot of people say, I don't need to do all that extra stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to be an influencer. I don't need to be famous. I mean, we talk to, I don't know, 30 to 60 plus people every week. And that is a lot of the conversation is, helping somebody understand the long term. Why would they start growing their garden now? Okay. Why would they start growing their brand now, even if they don't need it today? And that's exactly why. Because you shouldn't be desperate, hopefully not desperate for a deal or desperate for something tomorrow. Go into it with a 2, 5, 10 year mindset. I mean, take any given, I don't know, big entrepreneurial name. Go look at a Gary Vaynerchuk. 10, 20 years ago, he was making videos of tasting wine and spitting it into a bucket. The videos were pretty low quality. It wasn't anything super sexy. Fast forward currently, I mean, he's got an incredible brand, works with some of the biggest companies in the entire world and helps them build their marketing and branding, right? Look at a guy like Grant Cardone, was building his name for 10, 20, 30 years, had no specific end goal other than to just get his name out there, have a presence. And then all of a sudden he starts, building a massive real estate fund and goes and probably raises tens of millions of dollars through Instagram with a personal brand. And all of a sudden, all the other real estate entrepreneurs in the world go, holy smokes, I never thought that I could meet someone through social that could impact my real life and my business in that way, right? So if you just look back at the people who have been doing it and going for it, those are the individuals that then figured out their end goal or something that they really wanted to accomplish. And it's kind of ever changing, but yeah.
Okay, so we've got our kind of start with the goal in mind. Then what do? I get out there, I start taking, gym selfies of myself and posting
Yeah.
those. Like,
Hey,
I mean,
yeah,
what does that process look like? I have so many questions about like what platforms are people thinking about? Again, that's probably targeted to what audience and idea you have
exactly.
in mind. But how do you begin to think about like the what and
Yeah.
the
So,
where?
you want to start with what business, what project, what am I doing in real life? Okay.
Hmm.
Social for a lot of people is a reflection of what they actually do. Okay. And how they can incorporate it, even in the smallest way. Like you said, the gym selfie. Well, if fitness and health and wellness is a part of your ecosystem of your brand, okay, balanced between your business in the office, who you are at home, father, husband, wife, you know, um, what you do for fun, you out there, sports, rock climbing, hiking, golfing. This is all a part of the brand. And I know it sounds so simple and so silly, but there's a lot of content, let's say for context on Instagram, that you could go into your iPhone right now and just put up a handful of quality images that balance between professional, personal, hobbies, lifestyle. And that initial goal might just be to build a quality looking page so that if people check you out, if people search you, if people, Google your name because you're already doing business in real life, now they have a stronger reference point. Okay. So for someone who has a successful business, man, what a shame when someone Googles their name and goes on social and they're hoping that they find, like you said earlier, that leader. They're hoping that they find that person that really makes them go, wow. I knew this guy was a rock star. What a shame for them to go to a page that just looks like an empty lot.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
So you're not concerned with the posts being perfect, essentially, is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely, absolutely not. There's no such thing.
Okay.
First off, like the reason no one starts is because they think of the content strategy. They're like, I got to post 27 times a day. I've got to do it the right way, the right angle. All this BS. My process is extremely unorthodox because it's real. Let's start with who you are, what you have to offer, and that could be a selfie at the gym. I mean, it really could be that just says like, hey, go get after it today. Could be that simple. In fact, some of my closest friends who have businesses that do 10, 20, 30, 40 million a year, those individuals post those things still to this day. Hey, go get after it. Hope you have a great day. Like as simple as that. And they are extremely high thinking, high performing entrepreneurs. So, what does that tell you? It tells you a few things. What's real is never going to change. Okay. How someone can just present themselves as an individual and balance this brand between real life and then, yes, maybe highly edited content, professional content around certain subjects. All of those things can be added in later. But if you want to think about the MVP, like just the most valuable action that you could take today for the business, most people, it's doing a page audit on themselves
Okay.
and just making sure that they have a profile that looks good, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever platform you choose, making sure that it's professional, it's caught up to speed, and that
Hmm.
there's something there for people to engage with and see. Hope
I'm
that
fo-
gives you a good
no,
overview.
I'm following. I'm following. High quality looking page. Actually, start posting here and there. Um, I guess the two questions then would be one, what platforms are you primarily thinking of right now, and maybe how do you compare and contrast the pros and cons? Like, do I post on LinkedIn and Facebook and Snapchat and Twitter and uh, TikTok and so on?
Yeah, I mean, most of us don't have the bandwidth nor the necessity to be on like more than two platforms at a time.
Hmm.
Uh, Especially if you're just getting started, you want to go really deep. Okay, just like in a marketing strategy, I'm sure you don't have 17 different marketing strategies. I'm sure you have one, two, three, maybe four max that
Hmm.
really drive all of the revenue for your business. So pick one or two, depending on your business. Suit and tie business, LinkedIn is great. Um, entrepreneurial in general, you plan on building this ecosystem where you could be a speaker, you could be on podcasts, you could be, a high-level entrepreneur, you could drive sales, relationships. Instagram is in the middle. It's certainly a great platform that has kind of just stood the test of time so far, and it's always been the go-to for people to decide if they like you. Really, I think that's like that end ROI is that platform. Do I like this person? Can I get an idea of who they are? Are they a family person? Do they do things that I like and agree with? That's a great platform to just share a balance of content. YouTube, of course, long form. So anywho, without describing all these, whatever you're doing, just decide what platform kind of fits the mold. Okay. Yes, page audit, get some stuff going, get yourself moving, get some content up there, and then figure out what is the next most important action for you and your current business. So for people that need new relationships, if you need a new client and you're in real estate, yeah, you should be sending 100 messages every few days. You should be contacting as many people as possible to build relationships, connections, hopefully gain phone numbers, emails, and use your brand as a bit of a business card, right? To open up your network. That's just an example. So
my second question was going to be, how do you get people to begin to care? There's so much noise out there on social media. This is the secret sauce, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has an Instagram and they're all posting, but almost everyone I know has 248 followers, right? So it's like, that's just their friends and loose acquaintances, and every once in a while they may pick up a follower at random. How do you get like people to care? Because that's seemingly the big thing, to jump from a couple hundred followers, a couple hundred subscribers to like 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. How does that process occur?
This is something that doesn't just happen. Slow and steady does not win that race.
Okay.
Okay. So posting is good to the extent that it makes your page look good and it's important. But you really need to identify, like, what is the actual MVP? What's the actual most valuable action step each day? It's like saying, I've got my business card, I've got my website, and I'm ready to do business. And now what do I need to do? I've got to pick up the phone. It's just that simple, right? Like, we do all these fancy, fluffy things, but then when it's time to pick up the phone, you're like, oh, that's the thing that actually makes the business money. Oh, that's the thing that moves this thing forward. Now, when it's time for somebody to really grow the brand, like we were just saying a few seconds ago, that's when they start to put money behind it. Maybe they come to a company like mine and we help them go from, if you're looking at the graph and the chart, like I said, slow and steady is not going to win that race. So when they start to invest in things like influencer publications, they start getting on podcasts, they start growing their name and growing their brand, okay, putting themselves on a pedestal a bit, okay? And I mean that genuinely. I don't mean to, make them, fire themselves up. Okay, this is what is needed. Just like showing up to a business meeting for the first time with somebody, if you are dressed and well-spoken, it might go better than if you aren't. So putting some fuel on the fire and watching the brand. Have you ever looked on social and you just start seeing someone show up?
Yeah.
And you're like, where the hell did this guy come from?
Yeah.
All of a sudden he's on every podcast, he's on every speaking event, and he just becomes a name. He or she becomes a name almost, it feels overnight, because the minute that they start to actually grow and take off, they pour all of the gas on the fire. Okay.
I've definitely seen that, where they'll go from Joe Rogan to Lex to Chris Williamson to like Theo. It's just like, whoa, it's just like every podcast. Like, and sometimes it'll literally publish like a day or two apart, and you're like, what happened here? And that's on a huge scale. Like, and I know what you mean, where it's like, it's just happening on a small scale. They're everywhere.
I mean, find these stories and look at how simple it really is. Do you know Gary Brecka?
Yeah. The 10X Health.
Yeah. So he just, he's not with Cardone anymore. Oh, there you go. So, he just filed a lawsuit against them, ironically.
I saw the 10X rule behind you. It was funny.
Yeah. So as an example, we watched Gary Brecka connect with Grant, many years ago when he was just running his, I guess, in-person clinic or something of that nature. Okay, partners, starts to build a relationship with a guy like Grant. Grant puts him on a stage. Immediately, his relationships, I mean, he had already had incredible relationships with clients, but immediately that brand recognition starts putting him in the room with people who one person, and he just told this story on a podcast recently, that it was Elena Cardone's friend that he served her. And then she had such a great testimonial. She was friends with Dana White, and she introduced Dana White to Gary because of one client, because of one relationship. So putting the pieces together, it's really not that complicated. It's the same thing with social. Build a great brand with what you can and what you have. Go look for somebody that might impact and is important in your business, whether it's a client, a person, a mentor. What do you need in your life, and what could you reciprocate and provide value to? And all the other things. I know everybody's always looking for the nuts and bolts and the technical, but Jeremy, what time do I post today? Well, how do I get more likes? But should I angle it this way, and the lighting? Yeah. Look, we can go over that for a decade, but until you know why and what you actually want out of any of this, all that stuff, not so important.